Good afternoon, children. Welcome to the virtual classroom. In the previous session of English, we had learned the summary of the poem of photograph. Now, in this particular session, we shall learn about the literary devices or the figures of speech or the rhetorical figures used in the poem. As being discussed in the earlier slide, it has been already described for what purpose the literary devices are used. Literary devices are the decorative devices used by the poet or the writer in order to decorate the poem, and the means of these devices is to embellish the write-up, either it may be the poem or the text. So children, before we start understanding the rhetorical figures used in the poem or photograph, it is very much essential to understand the definition of the figures, the literary figures or the literary devices used in the poem. The very first literary device that is being used in the poem is alliteration. So before we proceed further, first of all, let us understand what exactly does alliteration means. Alliteration is a figure of speech whereupon the consonant sounds, they get repeated at regular interval at the beginning of the words or within the words. So here also you can see the example is being provided. She was wide-eyed and wondering while she waited for Walter to waken. Now here the consonant sound W, it is getting repeated at various intervals at the beginning of the words. So the consonant sound, it is getting repeated at the beginning of the words in the figure of speech, alliteration. So let's see in the poem where alliteration is being used. It is there in the fifth line, which says, all three stood still to smile through their hair. The syllable S, it is getting repeated. The consonant sound S, it is getting repeated at regular interval over here in this line. The next is wash their terribly transient feet. Here the syllable T, the consonant sound T, it is getting repeated. Likewise in the third line, my mother's that was before I was born. So here the consonant sound M, it is getting repeated at the beginning of the word. And the fourth one is it's silence. Silence says the consonant sound S, it is getting repeated at the beginning of the word. Now next is allusion. Now allusion is a figure of speech that makes a reference to people, places, events or literary works directly or by implying them. It is up to the audience to make the connection. As it is being said in the example, you can see he is a real Romeo with the ladies. Now here the word Romeo, it does not stand for the real Romeo, real Romeo that we happen to see in Romeo and Juliet written by William Shakespeare, but rather it is an implied term that is being used for this particular guy. He is being given this particular attribute. So here such sort of allusion, it is being created by implying that particular name. So here we can see in the statement, the cardboard shows me how it was. Now here the cardboard does not mean cardboard in the real sense, but cardboard means what? Photograph. So here the word cardboard, it stands for photograph. So here the cardboard is the implied term being used to describe the word photograph, which is having the photo of three children standing over there and playing at the beach. Next is oxymoron. It is a figure of speech which brings together contradictory terms for rhetorical effect. That means what? Two contradictory ideas that are opposite to each other, that have got opposite nature, they are all together being used next to each other, most probably next to each other. Example, living and death. Now life and death, they are two opposite ideas, they cannot stand with each other, yet in the lines, some certain lines, they are being used together like this way. Sweet and sorrow. Sorrow can never be sweet, but yet they can be used like this, denoting the contradiction. Likewise, cheerful and pessimist. Now pessimist can never be cheerful, but yet both the contradictory terms, they can be used in a line. So here in the line with the labored ease of loss, the word labored and ease, they are contradictory to each other. they are altogether two opposite ideas. The thing that is laborious cannot be done with ease. So here the word labored and ease, they are contradictory, means opposite to each other, used next to each other. That's why the figure of speech over here is oxymoron. Next is transferred epithet or the epithet. Now in this figure of speech, the adjective or the adverb, it is transferred from noun to which it belongs to one that which fits it grammatically but not logically. So grammatically that particular word that is being transferred, it fits, but logically when you try to relate the term to that particular to that particular statement which is being referred to, so logically it does not have any standpoint. Here the example is being given, dreamless night. Now dreamless, it is the attribute or the quality of human beings. The phrase explains the quality of a human being or a thing. So night can never be dreamless, but yet it is being termed to as dreamless night. So here the word dreamless, it is a transferred epithet. So where the quality of the human beings, it is being transferred to from the human beings to the word dreamless night. So here in this particular line, washed their terribly transient feet. Now transient means what? Something that is not, that is impermanent, temporary. It is being termed to as transient. So grammatically when you happen to see this statement, it is correct, but feet can never be transient. It is the quality of rather the human beings or nature to be transient, to be impermanent. So feet can never be permanent. Yet this epithet, it is being transferred from the human beings or the things or nature to the word over here, feet. That's why transient, it is being termed to as a transferred epithet over here. The next is personification. So personification is a figure of speech which gives the qualities of a person to an animal, an object or an idea. That means what? In this figure of speech, the inanimate or the non-living objects, they are being treated as if they have got the ability to do the things like human beings can do. The example is being provided over here. You can see the wind yells while blowing. Now wind can never yell like the human beings. Only the human beings or the living things can yell. Yet it is being the wind, it is being given the quality like the human beings having the ability to yell. So in the line, it's silences. Now silence is the being silent, is the quality of the human being, and silence word, it is an abstract term. Yet the ability of human being of being silent, it is being given to the word silent over here, which is an abstract term. So here also, here the inanimate thing or the abstract thing, silence, it is being given the ability to be silent like human beings. So hope children that you have understood all the rhetorical figures that are being explained to you over here. Meet you in the next session. Till then, goodbye and take care.